workplaces. So the expectations in terms of the OHS Act is for a company to run smoothly and make sure that there are no hazards at the workplace. If they are there, they are controlled. And there is proper communication. Safety culture is being achieved, where we look at mostly how do we exactly control our hazards, how do we communicate internally, looking at how people cooperate in terms of the existing control measures, as well as competence, because we cannot just take anyone from anywhere to come and take a certain responsibility without verifying if those people are competent in what they are going to do. So this OHS Act 85 of 1993 has got 50 sections in it. So I'm just going to look at much of the sections which are applicable to the legal liability, as well as to you guys that you need to emphasize mostly at workplace. So starting from the section 7, section 7 is the health and safety policy. A health and safety policy is a requirement by section 7 of the OSHA Act to make sure that each and every company has got a functional health and safety policy which is communicated with its employees. So the SHE reps also, they take such a duty to make sure that communication of the health and safety policy is done to each and everyone who's working at such a workplace. So as for us to comply with the Section 7 requirements. So these health and safety policy, we have vast number of them, but as SHE rep, mostly we look at the health and safety policy. We also look at the special need policy, equal opportunities policy, HIV and AIDS policy, COVID-19 policy, then machine operation policy if we have any machineries within our organization. Why those policies? Because these are the policies which assist us in managing our health and safety within the organization. So a policy is a commitment document where a company is committing itself to achieve certain legal requirements and making sure that everyone who is engaged with that workplace, they are safe. So that is why Section 7 compliance has to be done. Then we do have Section 16.1. 16.1 is our CEO. 16.2 is our project manager or general manager appointment. So 16.1 is a legal requirement appointment. No one can just wake up and say, I'm a 16.1 without a legal appointment. Then 16.1 has got powers to appoint the 16.2, which is the project manager or general manager. So all these 16.1 and 16.2, their duty is to carry out the duties of the employer. So the employer's duty is to make sure that they apply all required standards within the organization. It is their duty to make sure that they provide functional equipment, functional environment, workplace environment, making sure that they provide knowledge to people who are working in their environment, make sure that they identify hazards, they assess the risks, they control existing risks, and they make sure that there is no use of dangerous substances within the workplace. This is the duties of the employer, but it's very rare mostly to find an employer at the workplace. So that is why they have legal appointments, so that those people assist them in complying with their duties. Then under section 8.1, line managers are appointed. So line managers are appointed under section 8.1. Their duty is also to be assisting in providing the duties of the employer. Then section 8.2 is the supervisors. They are appointed under section 8.2 so as to supervise the production and ongoing work that is being carried within such an organization. So these are legal appointments. Then if we go under section 24, it is the duty of anyone at the workplace to report any incidents. But we have a list of incidents that must be reported to the Department of Labor. For example, if an incident leads to a person not be able to attend at work for 7 days or 14 days, that injury or illness must be reported to the Department of Labor. If it has led to a fatality, it must be reported to the Department of Labor. If it has led to amputation, it must be reported to the Department of Labor. Or any machine which ran out of control without an operator inside it, it has to be reported to the Department of Labor. Even with an operator inside it, has to be reported to the Department of Labor. So if there is any dangerous spillages, they also have to be reported to the Department of Labor. Then this reports to the Department of Labor. If it has any fatality, it has to be done in 24 hours.
Okay, let me understand. Department of Labor meaning Department of Labor outside the municipality.
100%.
Okay.
Wonderful. Then, if now, for example, we have a fatality, we said that 24 hours, we have to make sure that the report has been done. But any other injuries that a person is recovering and whatever, a company has about 7 days to do the reports and make sure that it reaches the Department of Labor. So failing to report injuries and illnesses which falls under Department of Labor, then it's a what? It's an offense. It means a non-compliance by the company.
If what?
Let's say, for example, you fail to report what must be reported. It's now a non-compliance. Then internally, in terms of reporting, any incident must be reported immediately to the supervisor or manager or whoever that is responsible for that. So a report has to be done. For any non-conformances within the organization, any injuries, any incidents, any hazards identified has to be reported internally immediately to a responsible person. Why do we do such reports? It's not a matter of just reporting because people have to claim or whatever. It's not only that purpose, but also reporting is done along. Okay. So the reason why we report is for us to find the root what? The root cause. So under Section 31 of the OSHA Act requires all incidents that have been reported to be investigated. So the investigation must be done within 7 days. Then an investigation has to be carried out. So an investigation is meant to address the root cause. So that is where SHE Rep has to do the root cause analysis. So root cause analysis, we can use different techniques in terms of analyzing the root cause. It can be either by using the 5 why technique. So 5 why technique, we are asking the same question why 5 times. Let's say, for example, one of the employees is involved in an accident. So we have to ask, why do you think you were involved in an accident? It's because I was tired. Why were you driving while you were tired? Because my supervisor said I must do it. Why your supervisor sent you when he really knows that you are tired? I didn't tell him. Why didn't you tell him? Are you getting? Up until we get to the 50 why. On the 50 why, we are expecting that we have now the root cause of such an incident. So this is meant for us not to treat the what? The leaves and the branches leaving the root, because if we deal with the leaves and the branches, the tree will shoot again, isn't it? Because the root is still existing. So if we deal with a problem from its root, it means that we can be able now to provide a proper control measure to deal with it. Then we have another technique that we can use in terms of investigation. We have what we call the failure effect mode analysis. In short, some they call it FEMA. So failure effect mode analysis, we are looking at existing controls that we have within an organization already. Then we look at them, okay, to say, what is their what effects? Where are they going to fail us? If they fail us, what will be the consequences of the failure? So, what can we do to prevent the failure? Are you getting it? So, we are proactive already because we are looking at those existing. So, for an example, you might have, let's say, for example, you have your emergency evacuation plan, isn't it? Existing. That is your control in addressing emergencies within your organization. Now, if we are to use the failure effect mode analysis, we are now going to look at, okay, having this existing emergency evacuation plan in place, what are its effects? Yeah, people can be guided in terms of how they can evacuate our buildings or their possible buildings to the nearest evacuation plan. But now, how can this fail us? It can fail us because otherwise it depends now with your hiring what policy as well. So if you are hiring other people who are not educated, or if you have visitors who are visiting your premises who are not educated, then it means those people cannot be able to interpret the what, the plan. If they fail to interpret it, they are still going to be confused and they are not going to reach that place in time. So,
it's a risk on top of risk.
yes. So we are looking at how best we can improve our what. That is when now we can now say, okay, in terms of controlling this existing control, which is already there, but before we get a failure of it, where a person will come and say, I saw it, but I didn't understand it. Let us now be proactive and put a control measure on top of that existing one. Then we say, okay, can we do a play in the local languages of those people who are visiting us? So if we are in a, like this region is what? It's Tswana. So we have it in Tswana. If we have Afrikaners, we have it in Afrikaners. So we can now include it in such so that no one can say, I saw it, but I didn't understand it, because now it is also translated in many languages. So that is what we do on the failure effect mode analysis. So we are just analyzing existing controls and checking where exactly they can fail us. If they fail us, what are the consequences? So that we have to put in other control measures on top of the existing one. So I normally encourage that an organization has to adopt the failure effect mode analysis, because it is good in a manner that we are always proactive, not waiting for a problem to exist. Then we can now just now using that 5 why technique, where we are answering, when we are asking the why question 5 times, because asking that question, it means that there is an existing what problem already. But with failure effect mode analysis, we are being proactive before the existing problem. For example, banks, they use that. So if you go to the bank today to open a bank card, they need your information, they need your fingerprints, they need your passwords. The password is within you. They ask you to sign, to put a signature. All that is made for secret reasons. But they know that, okay, yes, this card belongs to you. It has all security features on it. But now, what are the problems that can be associated with this card? People can steal it. When they steal it, they might access information and withdraw, or they might tap with it. So, what can we do? Let us make sure that in the points where people get money, we put what? On those automated ATMs, we put what? Cameras. So if we suspect any movement or any confusion when a person is using a card, it swallows it. So they command it from the what? From the command room, and say, okay, guys, let us swallow this, because the way this person is behaving, it seems it's not his card. The way he's walking with another person, it seems like they are not aligning together. They are not understanding each other. It's a problem. They are not agreeing. They are not, you get it. So they will say, let us swallow it. They swallow the card so that you get into the bank and ask you, are you safe? Yeah, you're getting it. So all that is meant to protect any possible what? Risk already. Then they say, okay, but now what if now this person is forced to smile and they seem like they are in agreement? Hey, when we get there, you must smile, showing that we are together, we are understanding each other. Then he starts smiling and everything. Are you getting? So what can we do? Let us put a security guy. So a security guy has got a panic button. If he suspects that yes, it seems like they are understanding each other, but something is fish, panic button. Then they shut down the ATMs. Everyone they follow your card inside. So they do it to prevent possible risks. So that is the failure effect mode analysis. Then we do have the fishbone analysis. A fishbone analysis, I think you know how the bone of a fish looks like. It has many small bones which are supplying to the main to the main bone at the center, isn't it? So that is what we also do. We write a major problem that your municipality might encounter. Then now we look at the possible causes of such problem. All of them, they are being, we write them. So they will now form a fishbone. Then we now have to control each and every problem. So if we control each and every small problem, it means we are saving ourselves from having this big problem. So it's another way of investigating the small problems that might be there, which can otherwise lead to the contribution of a bigger problem. So that is the fishbone. Then we have the Pareto analysis. Pareto analysis, we are now looking at, okay, we have a problem. What are the contributors of such a problem in percentage? For example, if your car is not starting, we know that the big cause of the car failing to start is what? It's a starter. So a starter has more percentage, which means that the first thing to be checked is the start. What other things can contribute battery? Then we write again in a percentage. What other thing contribute? It can be the alternator not charging. Then it can be fuse, which is bent. So we now have to write all in percentage. So that when we solve, we start with the major what? Contributor. Going to the next contributor, followed by the next, up until we get to the least contributor of such a problem. It's a Pareto analysis. Are you getting it? So it's an investigation. So doing an investigation is the legal requirement by Section 31 of the OSHA Act. Then Section 37 is agreement. We are talking about mandatories. So if 37.1 and 37.2, where we look at contractors, I think you as municipality, sometimes you do have contractors coming to your site, isn't it? So when contractors came, who is taking the responsibility of anything that goes wrong?
When the contractors came,
Mhm.
it depends with the agreement.
100%.
Yeah.
So it depends with the agreement. So agreement is a legal requirement under Section 37. And it has to stipulate exactly who takes the responsibility. So we are looking at liabilities now. So that is where we get the liabilities now under Section what? 37. So vicarious liability, our civil liabilities, as well as our legal liabilities. So we look at, okay, now who is liable for whatever that is going to take place if something goes wrong? So now we have to look at, okay, guys, under section 16.1, we said the CEO takes the duties of the employer. So the employer is his duty to make sure that every person who's engaged with their workplace is safe. So how are they going to do it? It means that in a municipality, when you are going to appoint a contractor, you have to tell them what you require, not them telling you what they require, because they will be on your premises. So vicarious liability, you know how it works. A vicarious liability works in a manner that if you die now here, the first person to be apprehended is the 16.1
Okay.
before any other investigation to say, okay, this has happened at your workplace. What do you have in place to prevent this? Then the employer will say, no, with their agreements and contracts, we said if you are not feeling well, you must not come to work. But you have to go to the doctor and bring a letter to avoid those people who can lie, isn't it? We also say that if they identify any hazard, because he might die because of an existing hazard in which he is exposed, we tell them to report. The organogram is there in terms of the reporting hierarchy. So we tell them to report. We also have first aiders at the workplace so that if there is an emergency, first aiders will chip in and assist before it gets what? Worse. So he is now explaining what they have. So even if the contractor is there and something happens, the first person to be apprehended is not the contractor, is the 16.1. Then 16.1 will now have to produce proof, which shows that no, under section 37.2, we have signed an agreement with the contractor. So the contractor takes the responsibility of his workers while they are here. So for us, for a verification purpose, we ask them to send their safety file. This is what they gave us. Are you getting it? So what are the employer is checking? The employer is checking what? If there is a proper first aid, appointed first aiders who can assist in case of emergency when they are doing their work. Firefighters who can assist in case if there is fire. Emergency coordinator who are coordinating the emergencies when they happen. Looking at the what? Provide provision of PPE if it is proper. There's a proof of PPE provided. If there is a permit to work systems needed, let's say, for example, some of the contractors can come here and they are going to do what? Hot work. We know that hot work is the major contributor to the fire incident. And according to the laws, hot work requires a permit to work. So the contract must stipulate who is going to issue that what? Permit. But there is no way now a contractor can issue a permit. But he can become a permit receiver and supervise the requirements of that permit. You get it? Which means now you guys, you need to make sure that one of the guys here is the person who is responsible for issuing permit to work. So if there is confined work, they issue the permit. If it is in a machinery operations like rigging or lifting equipment, they issue the permit. If it is hot work permit, they issue it. But a permit is issued after a risk assessment. So all those things will be looked at now to say, okay, did you do all those things? So it is the duty of you guys also as SHE reps assisting in making sure that if there is a permit to work that has been issued to the contractors, are they following it? Because we can now end up having a situation where a person is grinding. There is no what? Safety screens. A person is busy welding. There is no safety screens. If that happens and the SHE reps are there and they are failing to report it, you now take the responsibility.
Who takes over? The SHE Rep.
The SHE rep in that department. Because it's their duty to identify what? Non-conformances. So it doesn't matter that it is coming from the contractor or it's coming from the what? From the employee. So it has to be reported. Are you getting what we mean? So you guys, as SHE reps, you are appointed under Section 17. So Section 17 of the OSHA Act requires appointed SHE reps at an organization. Then your duties as SHE rep are explained under Section 18 of the OSHA Act. So your duties is to identify hazards, assess risks, implement control measures. So, but implementation of control measures, some of the things are within your capacity, some are beyond your capacity. For example, if we need to replace these windows, a SHE rep cannot do that, isn't it? You just report and suggest a proper control measure. But a SHE rep can do what? Can now write a what? Administrative control. Beware, be aware, broken windows. So that people are alerted. If there are steps, watch out for steps. Do not use phone. Because some people will be answering phone while they are going down the steps. Then they slip and fall. They get a fracture. If they get a fracture, who is responsible? The municipality.
Yeah.
Then this means
But issue of negligent, where does it come?
if there is communication.
Okay. So let's say there were cameras capturing to prove the employee does not act wrong. It's highly negligent.
Okay, let's say, for give me one example.
Okay, let's say let's not give it as municipality and chooses retailer spa as an example. There's a wet floor. They put those markers to
Okay,
shoes.
okay.
So I'm using the phone. I'm looking away and I step in the water and I slip and broke my ankle. Who is responsible?
Yeah, but since because you said there is a what?
Negligent.
There is a sign.
Yeah.
Is the person. It's negligence. But if there is no sign,
Yeah.
the municipality.
Okay.
Because it's the duty for them to communicate.
Okay.
So that is what we are saying to say, as she reps now, you guys have been trained. Don't take these certificates and sleep on them. You must now act. It's your duty to find those areas that need what? Administrative controls, because that is where your power mastery is. It's a matter of typing, isn't it? And pasting a sign so that there is communication. Then, if a person fails to follow the procedures or the communication, it's now negligence. Are you getting what we mean? So if you have machineries or you have driveways, speed limit signs, isn't it? It is an administrative control. Because if I drive at 60 kilometers per hour, then you say I'm wrong. I will tell you that you are in CBD. The maximum speed limit in CBD is what? 60. That's what the National Road Traffic Act says. So you cannot apprehend me if I was driving within such what speed limit. They say no, but it's a workplace. So how do I know your speed limits? So it must be pasted. So we are talking about communicating. But we cannot communicate without identifying the what? The existing hazards. So that is why we say, you guys, it's your duty. And this duty, they are not coming from anyone. They came straight from the section, which means it's a legal duty. So identify hazards, assess the risk, put in control measures. When you put in control measures, you now have to foster safety culture now. Communicate them. Those control measures which are there, they must be communicated, not only in a policy. Unless if you mention them in a policy, then you include them also on a policy statement, which is what? Displayed. But now that policy statement must be visible.
So tell me, in mining area, most of their policy statement isn't displayed.
Yeah.
Okay.
They display, why they display for visitors when they came in, but with their employees, they look for a date where they train them on their policy.
They train them when?
On their policies.
Oh,
Yes,
oh,
because remember, with the policies, there are a lot of legal jargon written there. So it might be very difficult for other people to really understand what is required. So there will be a person, especially the safety department. They now train their employees based on their policies.
okay. So this statement you find that when you enter the mining, they say zero tolerance to injury. It's the policy statement.
That one is it's their what? It's their motto.
Okay.
Zero tolerance to injuries is a motto. We
Okay.
cannot say it's a policy statement because it doesn't stipulate now to say how are they emphasizing that. So a policy statement will tell them now to say all machine operators to report to the what for induction.
Okay.
Now it's a statement. So every machine operator will know that I have to report there before I proceed. All drivers to maintain this. All visitors to undergo any what? Any induction. So now a statement is explaining the procedures that must be followed in order to reach their what? Their mode. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
So that is why you see there are safety signs everywhere. Parking, do not park, pedestrian markings, everything. So that we give each and everyone what? Right. A pedestrian is not an offense not having a car. So you must also you have your own designated what? Walkways where you won't be disturbed by those drivers. Are you getting it? If you are going to meet somewhere, then you put what? Pedestrian markings so that drivers would give also pedestrian right of way. So that is administrative that we are talking about. But if such is not existing, now a driver hits someone inside these premises, it's municipality problem
Yeah.
because there is no control in place. Are you getting what we mean?
Yeah.
So that is so it's your duty, guys, to contribute into communication of the existing what safety procedures that you have within an organization. Then another duty of you guys is inspections. You do periodic inspections, making sure that you do. In most cases, she reps they do what we call facilities inspection. So with the facilities inspection, you are checking now. Do you have enough fire extinguishers? Remember, we did firefighting yesterday. We said they must not space more than 23 meters apart. So we are checking if that is met. Are they accessible? If we have first aid boxes, do we have enough first aid boxes? Are they easily accessible? Are you getting it? Are they replenished monthly by the person who's responsible for that? Our windows, are they fine? Are they cleaned? Our toilets, are they being cleaned properly? No auto smells, no whatever. Our steps, are the signs still there? Our evacuation routes, are they still showing on the signs? Our evacuation plan, is it pasted? Our emergency numbers, are they pasted on the wall? Our machine operators, are they doing their daily inspections? Our drivers, are they doing their pre-trip inspections? Our facilities, do we have emergency assembly point? We are checking, do we have pedestrian markings? Do we have our smoking areas? Are they having a smoking sign, smoking area sign? Is the risk assessment being carried out regularly on such a smoking area? We are looking at drills. Are we doing fire drills at least twice a year? We are checking, are we reporting any incidents? Is the organogram communicated to everyone? So we are looking in terms of OHS what? Compliance. So when you do such inspections, you'll be having a checklist. Then that checklist now is your guidance on what you have to inspect. So you do monthly inspections. Let's hope you have templates for that. Or are you gonna? I think since there was an safety inspections after an audit, I think they will give you a report. Then
Yeah, like I think we still like with some quite few things.
mhm,
Uh, but yeah,
it will be fine. Eh?
70 to 80% because
Mhm,
we find certain things that like as we say, some
mhm.
of them like extinguishers, they are not
They're not refilled.
yeah.
Yeah.
So and as you see here, it's an office space.
Mhm,
But when you go to the what you call workshop
mhm,
where we speak of safety issues, they are
mhm.
more of a concern. You
Okay.
find that they are more.
Okay. Okay.
Let's say
Okay.
more of non-compliance. Because that's what I was saying. Like after this, I want to do
Mhm,
risk training assessment
mhm.
based on safety issues.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that would be good so that you educate everyone.
Yeah,
So that you won't take the whole burden on yourselves because it will be
exactly.
difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, and to help them to report.
Mm.
Sometimes the fact that
Mhm.
they don't know what to do if
Hundred
they come
percent.
across
Hundred
things.
hundred percent.
Yeah, so they report well because UEFA that's section 61.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't have those reports.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
But if he was notified and
Mhm.
maybe there was something that was going to happen and
Mhm.
improve
Yeah.
the situation.
That's good.
Yeah.
So that's wonderful. So that is fostering of what safety culture within an organization. That will be one of your major duties as the what, as the she rep. But she reps will automatically also become the part of the safety committee. So
So she reps and occupational health officers. How do they do?
okay, so in most cases is the qualification because if you look at this at the start, I was displaying level 2. It has 3 credits. So 3 credits means it's 30 national hours of training. So 30 national hours of training in terms of workplace plus plus theory class. Then with the health and safety officers now, they are the people who are holding like same track, so they have level 5. Some of them they have health and safety quality practitioner. They've attended for 18 months, so they have higher academic level. So in most cases, these people are exposed muchly more, 75% at the workplace, doing the actual job with logbooks, checking if they really do everything properly in terms of practical. So she reps now. That is why we say they are mostly muchly in administrative party. You get it? Because they cannot do medical surveillance. They are limited to certain things.
Or they are just doing administrative in most cases.
Yeah, administration. Yes. Okay. So she reps, they will automatically become the safety committee party.
Okay.
So if we go to the OSHA Act 85 of 1993, Section 19 is the requirement of an occupational health and safety committee or a safety committee. So a safety committee is formed to address matters of safety within an organization. So you must in safety committee, they are allowed to sit on a meeting at a period that does not exceed 3 months. So every 3 months, there must be a safety what? Meeting. Every 3 months, there must be a safety meeting. But you can even do it monthly. So 3 months is the maximum period. So if you are still in a situation where things are still really bad, you're allowed to do it even what? Weekly. You're allowed to do it monthly. But the period according to the laws, you must not exceed 3 months without doing what? A meeting. Then these safety meetings, there must be a chairperson elected and appointed to lead those what? Meetings. Then she reps are part of that what? Safety committee. So the duties of the safety committee is to make recommendations. So she rep has walked around inspecting the area. They after walking around, they will now report what non-conformances, isn't it? Then they can suggest proper control measures, but they cannot make a final decision. So what happens now when you are doing the safety meetings, the safety committee will note all those non-conformances. They create what we call a corrective action report. A corrective action report is made up of recommendations as well, what they recommend. So that the 16.1 can now sit down and look at at your municipality budget and you look at what they can do. So that is where now they will say, okay, guys, can't you provide us with a risk assessment in terms of rating, so that we know that which are the most priority ones that we must solve first, followed by what, based on their ratings, so that at least those which are critical can be solved as a matter of emergency, followed by those who are less up until we get to the least one. So that will be the duty of the safety committee. Then all employees under OSHA Act, they are controlled by the Section 14. Section 14 is the duties of the employee. But one of the major duty of the employee is to report any unsafe acts and to follow all lawful instructions given to him or her by the employer, and making sure that he is safe and the person next to him or her is also safe. But employees also they have rights under Section 13. Section 13 is talking about the rights of the employees. The rights of the employees is right to information. They have right not to be victimized. They have the right to safe work procedures. They have right to their leave days, right to receive their salary on the agreed dates. Are you getting it? So those are their rights. So it means that whatever procedures that we have to create, whether it's policies and procedures internally, they must not violate what? Section 13.
Is it 8?
13, 1 3 of the OSHA Act 85 of 1993.
Okay.
So those are the rights of the employees. So even she reps, when they are doing their work, they have to be guided to make sure that whatever that they do doesn't violate the what? The rights of the employees. Are we together?
Yeah.
Any questions?